Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Anusha Soni. The Prime Minister has launched an all-out attack on the opposition parties. While speaking in Bhopal, the Prime Minister slammed the opposition unity as the unity of the corrupt. The opposition meet in Patna was termed as a mere photo op by the Prime Minister. The open dare to the opposition ahead of the crucial assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan is indeed the poll bugle. And the contest in the Hindi heartland is seen as the semi-final to the big battle of 2024, the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. The lines are sharply drawn. Against the charge of polarization, the Prime Minister lashed out at the opposition, accusing them of divisive appeasement politics. There are several challenges for the opposition unity: lack of leadership phase, the absence of a cohesive agenda, just to name a few. But the all-important battle for the Hindi heartland shall be fought on the issues of development, along with stinging cultural and religious issues. The need for a uniform civil code, the outreach to the Pasmanda Muslims and the agenda of the reform in the personal laws were the key highlights of the Prime Minister's address. Will the Congress party be able to retain its fort in states like Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan? Will the BJP be able to capture the three big states? Will the opposition unity be a decisive factor in the upcoming electoral battles? All these questions are focused on Brass Tacks tonight.
कुछ दिन पहले इनकी एक फोटो ऑप कार्यक्रम हुआ था। मिलकर के फोटो निकालने का एक कार्यक्रम हुआ था। इस बैठक में शामिल दलों के इतिहास को देखेंगे तो पता चलेगा तो ये सारे मिलकर के कम से कम 20 लाख करोड़ के घोटाले की गारंटी है।
Prime Minister has only one process he is doing to make washing machine. All the corrupt people are with him only, Prime Minister only.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी का पैनिक रिएक्शन हो रहा है। ये पैनिक रिएक्शन, ये जो ऑपोजिशन वालों को जो फ्रंट हो रहा है, पटना मीटिंग सक्सेसफुल हुआ है, शिमला में मीटिंग होने वाला है।
परिवारवाद की परिभाषा इन लोग अपने अनुसार करते हैं। जो भी मामले हैं ये सबको पता है, वेंडेटा पॉलिटिक्स के तहत किए जा रहे हैं।
Those BJP leaders must once again bring out that meter, highlight the scams of those leaders that are part of the Eknath Shinde group, and tell the world that who the real scamsters are.
We are sure if people come together, transcending political parties and political differences, people can defeat RSS-led BJP.
Well, is the BJP nervous as the opposition claims, or the opposition unity is merely a photo op, as the Prime Minister asserted in Bhopal? Joining us on the broadcast is our full panel: Mr. D. Raja, who's the General Secretary of CPI and ex-MP; Mr. Nalin Mehta, who's a Group Consulting Editor; Mr. Syed Zafar Islam, who's the National Spokesperson of the BJP; Madhu Gauriaski from the National Congress Spokesperson; and Riju Datta from the TMC. All are joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. My first question to Mr. D. Raja. Sir, I'd like you to open the debate. And the Prime Minister said that this is an alliance of the corrupt. He also accused the opposition parties of lacking any kind of agenda and coming together merely for a photo op. How do you see that statement?
It all shows that Prime Minister is jittery because during Karnataka elections, there was a strong issue raised by people. The then BJP government was 40% commission government. Prime Minister campaigned in Karnataka. He never responded to that. He never answered to the people who raised corruption of BJP government at that point of time. Now Prime Minister is speaking too many things, and because everyone knows the ED, IT, CBI, all central agencies are being used by the union government in order to target the opposition leaders, the non-BJP state governments, in order to intimidate them.
But sir, the criticism that the BJP or the Prime Minister, which is being levelled, is not without its merit. The fact that there is no united agenda or a common minimum program or some kind of a leadership phase that can be projected from the side of the opposition, all make it very prone to the criticism that this was a mere photo op and nothing else.
I'm happy wherever Prime Minister goes, there is no camera for a photo opportunity. There is no media to give coverage, live coverage. People should take note what is happening with the Prime Minister's visits wherever he goes, not only abroad, even inside the country. No photos, no camera coverage, footage. So why Prime Minister should resort to such criticism? He should have serious discussion, argument on issues. And the secular democratic parties are concerned with the future of nation. What's going to happen to India? Because the 9-year rule has been proved to be so disastrous, detrimental to the basic tenets of the Constitution, the secular fabric of our society, the federal principles of our governance. And that is why the secular democratic parties are coming together. They have come together and they have declared their common resolve that in order to save the nation, BJP has to be removed from power.
Yes.
Desh Bachao, BJP Hatao. That is the urge among the people and among the secular democratic parties.
It's interesting that you talk about the concept of secular democratic nation, because there was something that was mentioned by the Prime Minister as well, that we work for the benefit of all and for the appeasement of none. Mr. Syed Zafar Islam, I want you to come in. The opposition party says we have a common plank, and the common plank is to defeat the BJP because that is in the national interest. The words like secular are very often used by the opposition parties to put a charge on the BJP that the party indulges in the politics of polarization. I want you to respond to that charge, sir.
Well, they also need to introspect what they have done in the last 70 years, particularly I'm talking about Congress party and then of course the left party as well. They have done nothing for the betterment for the people of this great country. They have only made promises. They never lived up to their own promises. Bijli, Pani, Sadak, all these slogans we have heard from the Congress party, but actually it has not been delivered by our government. In 9 years, we have changed the minds of the people, because they always felt the government will never deliver, because it's all the false promises they are being made by the successive government. But in 9 years, you ask anybody on the street, they will say that yes, this government has run several welfare schemes, not one or two, 315 welfare schemes. And who are the beneficiaries? The common man on the street. So all these allegations which is being made by Mr. Raja and many other opposition leaders are actually baseless, because they all know that all these allegations which they intend to make or the narrative they want to build will not work, because there's a huge number of people who admire the Honorable Prime Minister. And reason why they admire, because their interests have been safeguarded by the Modi government. We have a governance model which actually safeguards the interests of the common man. And that is something which was never been experienced by the ordinary citizen of this great country. That's why what I'm trying to tell you, that no matter what the narratives they want to build, it will not work. Because the beneficiaries who have been benefited by the government, run by the government welfare scheme run by the government, are the ones who acknowledge that this government has made the difference in their life, and their quality of life is improved. Because earlier, those who had no home of their own, now they have their home of their own. They don't have a water connection at their home. 9 crore people families have got a new water connection. And for sanitation.
So the broad argument, sir, that you're making is that the welfare schemes do not discriminate between individuals, and that is the hallmark of any welfare state, which is actually secular in its true nature. Yeah, a quick point, and then I want to bring in Congress and Mr. Nalin Mehta also. Yeah.
Let me give you one example. Today, PM has also spoken about Paspanda Samaj. See, the beneficiaries, I'm trying to drive a point. The beneficiaries of all the welfare schemes of the government, it is for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So, like for instance, constituency where I am responsible in Bharatiya Janata Party's Muradabad, where the beneficiaries for all the schemes, it goes up to
I get that one. I get that broad point, sir. I get that broad point.
Because because they have not been, they have always been denied. They have been promised, but they have never been delivered. That's why they are in a state where they need support of the government, and the welfare scheme is something.
Let me bring in the Congress party into this. Madhuji, the key argument of the BJP always has been, and each time this debate, classic debate, is prompted of polarization versus the appeasement, that look, if you're accusing us of polarization or any kind of discrimination and bias, look at the development schemes on which the Modi government has worked. And all these welfare schemes are targeted towards citizens who deserve this support from the welfare state of India, not on the basis of religion or any kind of caste, creed or any kind of identity politics. Then what is the basis for the Congress party to make allegations of these nature? More importantly, today was also the talk of the Uniform Civil Code that the Prime Minister mentioned. He also said that the Muslim community is being misled because there's the politics of vote bank that parties like Congress have often indulged into. Madhuji, please go ahead, make your point.
Let me make it very clear to you. Till 2014, as if Prime Minister is saying, or Jafarul Islam is saying, there's no development. I mean, people were going in a bullock carts. There was no airports or ports or projects. Second point, what Mr. Jafarul Islam is saying, when Congress does right to education to employment guarantee scheme during UPA, is it not that those schemes are marked to every citizen of the country or deserving people? When we do it as an appeasement, when they are doing it in a development, what kind of a logic is this? And Prime Minister also spoken about Parivarvad. I would request your cameraman to zoom it and see how many of the BJP leaders belong to same family here. And third point, Prime Minister ji in US has given lecture about India is the largest democracy in the world. You tell me, any democracy can survive without any strong opposition? Let me remind my friend from BJP spokesperson, Advani ji himself in 2012 has said it in their parliamentary committee meeting, when they were fighting in 2009 for leader of opposition post between Jetli ji, Sushma Swaraj ji and Advani ji, Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji called him and requested him to resolve your infighting in the party because country needs a strong opposition. Let me also remind through you, through the people of this country, Pandit Nehruji, when he was a Prime Minister, he himself used to criticize by writing an articles in the newspaper by a pen name about the Prime Minister decisions. No democracy can survive without any strong opposition. Mere giving a lectures on democracy will not work. And Prime Ministers and BJP thinking to eliminate entire opposition in the country, that's not democratic.
But sir,
substantiate
that argument.
So
how
you need
is
to have a strong opposition to have it.
The BJP or the government cannot be held responsible.
Point. The
BJP or the government do not have the responsibility of strengthening the opposition.
To every citizen of the
how
country.
is it that the government is decimating the opposition? You can make that quick point and then I'll bring in Mr. Nalin Mehta and also Mr. Riju Datta.
What Prime Minister is saying, he's talked about the corruption. Who's stopping the investigating agents to take action? On what basis the Prime Minister has come up with a 30 lakh crore of loot? Who's stopping? Is it not the duty of the Prime Minister to stop that corruption? Is it not Prime Minister promised to the people of this country that he will bring back 75 lakh crores from abroad? Khala dan wapas leke aunga. People like Ramdev Baba type like have spoken and promised to give every 15 lakhs rupees to every citizen of this country.
Yes.
Is that happened?
Okay. I take those broad points. I want Mr. Nalin Mehta also to come into the discussion. Mr. Mehta, I'm sure you heard the address of the Prime Minister in Bhopal and the response, of course, that has come in from the opposition parties. The semi-final for the 2024 is all set to happen with the 3 crucial assembly elections in the Hindi heartland. What kind of battle lines have been drawn, and the charge of the Prime Minister and the BJP, does it stick?
Look, this is very much par for the course. I think this is a very aggressive Prime Minister reacting for the first time on the question of opposition unity. And I think the gambit on the Uniform Civil Code is interesting. It's the last of the BJP's core, what used to be called the core agenda of the BJP, right? Article 370 is done. The Ram Mandir is now being built. Uniform Civil Code is a vestige from the 80s, which was one of the issues that brought the BJP to the forefront. And the Prime Minister is batting from the front foot on it, I think is significant leading up as we get into election mode. As far as the Prime Minister's comments on the opposition unity are concerned, look, the fact of the matter is that opposition parties are very clear that that unless you band together, you're not going to be able to beat the BJP. The devil is in the detail. Will this be just optics or semantics or, the detailing of how do you get common candidates, how do you get the index of opposition unity right, and all of that? In the past, there are examples of both ways. In the past, in UP, in 2019, all parties were together, SP, BSP, and the BJP still won the majority of the seats. Before that, if you go back to, say, in the 80s and so on, the index of opposition unity has been known to beat bigger parties. I think what the BJP is, what we are going to see now is a lot of shadow boxing. You're going to see a lot of claims and counterclaims on both sides, and I think this signifies the beginning, seriously, of election season.
Absolutely. Mr. Riju Datta, coming to you. You've been patiently listening to all the speakers, but I have one question for the TMC. And even yesterday we were discussing this topic here on Brass Tacks, and the statement of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, one of the Congress leaders, and he said we went there for a wedding celebration of sort, and he rather hinted that this was a photo op opportunity and nothing more to it. The TMC and the Congress party has not seen eye to eye on multiple issues, and Congress party is not the only party with which the TMC might have an axe to grind. That being said, do you think that there is a national agenda on which the Congress and the TMC can be on the same page? Will the TMC or Mamata Banerjee ever accept the leadership of the Congress party? Mr. Datta.
Yes. I'll give you a straightforward answer. The question here is Adhir Chaudhary a bigger leader than Rahul Gandhi in Congress? That is the question. Adhir Chaudhary is the Congress state president in West Bengal, under whose leadership in independent India, for the first time, Congress has turned into a zero in the state of West Bengal. I believe all the stalwart opposition leaders, the primary leaders that are taking BJP head on, they all met. Congress was present there. Their tallest leader, Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, was present there. And there is a common minimum program. And the common minimum program is BJP ko hatana hai, desh ko bachana hai. Simple as that. For its people, for the constitution, for the country to survive, we need to take this BJP out of this country in 2024. So in that perspective, what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary talks about in Bengal is very irrelevant. That is question number one. Point number one. Point number two, in Bengal, see, regional politics and national politics are two very different things, very different logistics, very different optics. But in Bengal, local Bengal politics, the Congress has tied up with the left, and they have also taken the help of the BJP, because I have got multiple pictures to show where BJP and Congress candidates are, doing wall writing and printing posters together for campaigning during the Panchayat polls. So it's all right. In Bengal, it is TMC versus BJP plus Congress plus CPM. But that is state-wise. In the national perspective, it is BJP on one side, it is everybody else on the other side who are secular, who are progressive, who are democratic, and who want. But
Mr. Riju Datta, isn't that a very convenient definition of secularism? When it suits you, you align with the secular party, and when it doesn't suit you, you fight with them. But before that, Mr. Syed Zafar Islam has a point to make. Please go ahead, sir.
When these opposition parties, when they talk about the common minimum program, actually it only translates into a license to loot the country. That is what they are up to. because they know that exactly on their own they cannot fight the BJP. So they want to align with each other, even though all are fighting in these respective states with each other, but still they want to go on the same platform, only to have a common minimum program, which I term it as the license. It is a license for them to go back and loot the country. But this time, this has been very well understood by the people, and they will give a befitting reply to people such.
Mr. Riju Datta, what kind of secularism is this
secularism
that suits you at the national level but doesn't suit you at the state level? That's politics of opportunism 101. I argue, respond to that.
The tallest leader in the BJP is Mr. Narendra Modi.
Yes.
All these years from 2024 till 2021, whenever the opposition wanted to counter Mr. Modi, he has always given us a reply as a sarcastic comment or a sweeping jibe. But today, his fiercest attack ever at the opposition clearly shows the RSS internal survey, his IB survey are not healthy. They are not good for BJP. So clearly, Pradhan Mantri Modi is shaken and obviously jittery because it is not looking good for him in 2020.
Mr. Zafar Islam.
And just 10 more seconds, Anusha. And what Zafar Saab just said, that, it is opposition is getting together because they want to loot the country. There is a saying in Hindi, ki dhool muh pe hai aur aina saaf kar rahe hain. The people who you campaigned against, the people who you called brashtachars, chores, and you campaigned like Conrad Sangma, Hemant Biswa Sarma, Naroda scam mentioned, which the PM mentioned today. Charge sheet mentioned leader of opposition of Bengal, Shubhendu Adhikari, are your
You've made your point. A quick from Zafar Saab, and then I'll move on to other guests as well. Mr. Syed Zafar Islam, if the opposition unity is a mere photo op and it has no substantial basis, this is not a challenge to the BJP, then why is the party so nervous? That's what the opposition is asking you. Why there is so much reaction just because they had a meeting in Patna and are going to have another one in Shimla?
Who is nervous? Are we nervous? They are overly worried about BJP. That's why they are coming together. We are not at all, because we enjoy the confidence of the people. And that's why we are absolutely clear that we have to only serve the people, serve the nation, and safeguard the interests of a common man on the street. And that is something which we have done in the last 9 years. And we are absolutely confident that we will again have a thumping majority in 2024. Because these people have their own agenda. They have no agenda except to come back to the power. They are trying to piggyback on each other. But people understand that their intention is to be on power, not to serve the nation.
I have last 2 minutes on the broadcast. Madhuji, are the opposition parties trying to piggyback on each other? The Congress party has a very decisive and a critical role in the opposition unity. You are the first amongst the equal. And, the Congress party has been staking claim to the leadership position within the opposition camp. Do you think you can bring all these warring parties together, including the AAP and the TMC, to which your party doesn't see eye to eye?
Well, Congress and Rahul Gandhiji, Mallikarjun Kharge made it very clear. It is no big brother leadership here. We take it as a consensus and a consultation and lead together. So this quick point here, Mr. Islam should answer. He's talking about corruption. Why Yedurappa was removed in Karnataka? The 40% Sarkara, what Mr. Raja was saying it, how the BJP was defeated in Karnataka, people of Karnataka had voted and the most corrupt government in the country. So they have no moral standing or authority to speak on corruption. And the second quick point, they are in the government. Last 9 years, in the government. Have they proved any charges which they made in 2014?
Okay.
Right from 2G scam to
as I conclude the debate, I want to give the last word to Mr. Nanil Mehta.
So making mild, viable allegations, nothing but in a rhetoric which they're doing it
do you
last
think,
9 years.
especially in the Hindi heartland,
which is
in the 3 states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, corruption is going to be one of the key issues? Or perhaps the battle lines very sharply drawn on a socio-cultural plank is going to be the decisive factor? Nalinji, if you can hear me. That question was for you. All right, we'll try and connect with Nalin Mehta. We seem to have lost that line with Mr. Nalin Mehta, but that's broadly the argument that has been put out. I want to once again go back to Mr. Zayed Zafar Islam, who continues to be with us on the show. Zafar Saab, the key question the opposition parties have repeatedly asked is that there are these broad sweeping allegations of corruptions which have been made, but so far there is no absolute or a decisive conviction in a court of law that has happened. A very brief answer from you, sir.
Well, the brief answer is that it is not for us to pronounce the judgment. It is for the court to pronounce the judgment, and matter is pending with the court. There are people who is on the bail, like Mr. Rahul Gandhi is on the bail. What can we do? Because it is the court which has given them bail instead of putting them behind the bar. So our job, or as the agency's job, is to always pursue the case and try to take it to logical conclusion. But it is the court which actually pronounced the judgment, not us, not the government.
All right, Mr. D. Raja, Nalin Mehta, Syed Zafar Islam, Madhu Gorniaski and Riju Datta. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Mehta, I wanted to come back to you, but I'm sorry, I'm absolutely short of time right now. Thank you for sparing us time and joining us on the broadcast. And this is going to be an interesting battle to watch out for, the semi-final for 2024, as many argue. We're slipping into a very short break. Up next on the other side, Prime Minister Modi sparks the Uniform Civil Code debate yet again. The opposition accuses him of playing politics of polarization ahead of elections. That and much more on the other side.